Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're really getting into the long story of yoga, like 6,000 years worth. We're using the Vishuddhi Films video, History of Yoga, as our guide.
Yeah, it's a fascinating film. Our goal here is to pull out the key stuff, where yoga started, how it changed over time, the big ideas behind it.
Right, to give you a really clear picture of this incredibly complex history.
And the sources are pretty diverse. The video uses historical records, looks closely at texts like the Yoga Sutras.
Patanjali, yeah.
Exactly.
Huh.
And archaeological finds, like from the Indus Valley, plus how all the different yoga styles developed. It's quite comprehensive.
What struck me right at the start was that point about, well, how we usually look outward for answers.
Mm-hmm. Trying to figure out the world.
But these ancient Indian sages, they did something different. They looked inward for peace.
A radical shift, really. And Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, that's where this inward focus gets codified, you could say. The video dives right into that.
Okay, Patanjali. The video suggests he might have been this incredible figure, maybe even a single genius behind Don, works on grammar and Ayurveda too.
That's the tradition, yeah. Grammar to purify speech, Ayurveda for the body's balance, and Yoga Sutras for the mind. If it was one person. Wow. Just an amazing breadth of knowledge.
And they even try to place him, historically, linking him to Chitter Fort, maybe King Pushyamitra, makes him feel a bit more real,
It does. But the core text, the Yoga Sutras themselves, are incredibly concise, like almost unbelievably short for something so foundational.
Fits on a page, basically.
Pretty much. Later expanded by Vyasa, of course, but the essence is there.
So what is yoga, according to Patanjali? The absolute core definition.
Okay, the first sutra nails it. Yoga is the cessation of the fluctuations of chitta. Chitta being, consciousness, but more like the constant whirl of thoughts, feelings, perceptions.
The mental static.
Exactly. Yoga is about calming that static, making it still.
And the point of that stillness, the benefit.
Patanjali says, then the seer abides in his own self. Meaning, usually we identify with all that mental activity, the fluctuations. Yoga lets us rest in our true nature, the unchanging part.
It is kind of tragic when you think about it. Knowing so much about everything else, but not really knowing ourselves.
That's the heart of it. Patanjali lays out why we don't see our true selves and gives the method, the steps to get there.
And the sutras have a structure, right? 4 chapters, not just random thoughts.
Oh yeah, very structured. The first chapter is actually quite advanced for people already deep into practice. Talks about higher states.
Oh, interesting. Starts at the deep end.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
Then the second chapter is where you find the famous 8 limbs laid out systematically. That's where many people start their study.
Ah, the Ashtanga, the 8 limbs. Let's break those down. They seem fundamental.
They are. It starts with yama, the restraints, or ethical principles, non-violence, truthfulness, non-stealing, non-possessiveness, and celibacy, or right use of energy. Then comes niyama, the observances, cleanliness, contentment, austerity.
Self-discipline stuff.
Right. Self-study or recitation, and a kind of reverence or surrender to a higher power. So you see, it starts with how you interact with the world and yourself.
Building a foundation. What's next?
Then asana. The postures. This is what most people picture when they think of yoga.
The physical practice.
Yes. Then pranayama, regulating the breath. Super important link between body and mind. Then pratyahara, withdrawal of the senses. Turning inward.
That sounds like a major turning point.
It really is. You're shifting focus from the external world to the internal landscape. After that come the final 3, the purely internal limbs. Dharana, which is concentration.
Focusing the mind.
Right. Then dhyana, which is sustained meditation, like an unbroken flow of that concentration. And finally, samadhi, self-realization, that state of union or absorption.
It's interesting how Patanjali talks about God. It's not quite the usual idea, is it?
Not at all. The video points out, for Patanjali, God Ishvara is more like a special object for meditation. A tool, really, to help quiet the mind, to achieve that cessation of fluctuations, not a creator or manager of the universe, just a perfectly free consciousness.
And the philosophy behind it, Sankhya, is described as atheistic. That might surprise some people.
Yeah, atheistic in the specific sense of not needing a creator god to explain reality. Sankhya offers a framework based on consciousness, purusha, and nature, prakriti. It's not anti-spiritual, just non-theistic in that creator-god sense.
And this apparently caused some friction early on.
With traditions more focused on deities, yes. But yoga, as Patanjali presents it, is really about direct experience. It's existential, experiential, experimental even, not based on just believing something.
So you follow the steps, ethics, postures, breath turning inward.
Exactly. Asana makes the body stable and comfortable. Pranayama manages the energy and focus. Pratyahara is that key step inside, away from distractions. That's where the inner journey truly begins.
And then the concentration deepens.
Precisely. Dana is holding focus. Dhyana is sustaining it without effort. And Samadhi is the culmination, the purest state. But, the video then asks, did yoga start with Patanjali?
Right. It digs deeper into pre-Patanjali roots. The tradition says Sankhya and yoga are eternal, Sanatan.
Sage Kapil is often named as the founder of Sankhya, and the Gita even calls him the greatest perfected being.
But finding hard historical proof for Kapil is tough, the video notes.
Very tough. So where do we see the first concrete hints? The video points to the Indus Valley civilization 5,000 years ago.
And there's that seal, the one showing a figure sitting.
Yes. In a posture that looks remarkably like meditation. It's a powerful piece of potential evidence for really early yoga-like practices.
The Pashupati seal. Lord of beasts, with the animals around him.
That's the one, linked to early Shiva ideas. And interestingly, those animals also show up in Rigveda hymns connected to Rudra, who later merges with Shiva.
And there was that bus, too, with the specific gaze, Shambhavi Mudra.
Exactly. A technique yogis still use. It suggests a sophisticated understanding wasn't just a later development. Plus, loads of terracotta figurines from Harappan sites are in clear yogic postures.
So asana, the physical poses, weren't just invented much later for Hatha Yoga.
Seems not. It pushes the origins of posture practice way back. And it's not just postures. The video makes a strong case for yama and niyama being present too.
How so?
Well, the Harappan civilization lasted peacefully for something like 2,000 years. That suggests a deep value placed on nonviolence, ahimsa, the first yama.
Wow, 2,000 years of peace is hard to imagine.
Isn't it? And their cities had amazing sanitation, great baths, drainage systems, points towards an emphasis on cleanliness, saucha, a niyama. These core principles seem embedded in the culture.
A whole civilization seemingly built on nonviolence and cleanliness thousands of years ago, without obvious signs of, strong kings or armies.
It's pretty astonishing, and these figurines and asanas suggest that the physical side was there too, even if Patanjali later defined asana more subtly as just a steady, comfortable seat.
The video also brought up that idea about Harappan society possibly being matriarchal, and how that might connect to Sankhya and yoga concepts.
Yeah, Professor Tadapatia's theory, it's speculative, of course, but intriguing. Lots of female figurines, some in yoga poses, women seemingly prominent. And then you have Prakriti in Sankhya, the active, creative force, often seen as feminine. Could a society with a stronger female influence have shaped that philosophy? It's a fascinating thought, how culture might influence even deep philosophical ideas.
Then the story moves towards the Vedic period, the Rig Veda. But it wasn't like Harappa ended one day and the Vedas started the next, right?
No, the video suggests overlap. Geographically, temporally. There are even similarities noted, like city layouts in places like Dhalavira matching descriptions in the Rig Veda.
But the feel is different. Nature in Sankhya versus the Rig Veda.
Definitely. Sankhya's Prakriti is more of a philosophical principle. The Rig Veda is full of poetry, wonder, awe towards the forces of nature. More devotional, maybe?
But still, hints of yoga in the Rig Veda itself.
Potentially, yeah. Maybe early contemplative practices to connect with those natural forces. But there's also a clear shift towards a more patriarchal society compared to what Harappa might have been.
And yagna, sacrifice, becomes central in the Rig Veda. How does that fit in?
Yagna is huge, tied to creation itself. But the video suggests that over time, the rituals could become mechanical, losing the deep meaning that led to the Brahmanas' texts trying to explain the why behind the rituals.
And that focus on the why eventually leads inward.
Exactly. The Upanishads emerge, saying, look, reading hymns and doing rituals isn't enough. You need to realize Brahman, the ultimate reality inside yourself. That's a major shift towards inner experience, crucial for yoga's path.
Are there specific yogic elements mentioned in the Rig Veda?
Yes, a few hints. Hiranyagarbha as an early exponent, Rudra's wild ascetic character foreshadowing Shiva the yogi, and these figures called Kes and Munis.
The long-haired ascetics.
Right. Described with special powers, maybe doing practices like breath control, nadi shuddhi. They sound a bit like early Hatha yogis. These references get stronger in later Vedas and texts like the Aranyakas.
And the word yoga itself, in the way we understand it, when does that appear?
The video flags the Taittiriya and Katha Upanishads as key. The Katha Upanishad is really significant. Yama, the god of death, teaches both supreme knowledge and yoga. That's where it really crystallizes.
So the Upanishads, Vedanta, are about going beyond death, realizing the eternal, and yoga becomes a primary method for that.
Precisely. That becomes a central theme. And later Upanishads start identifying Rudra with the ultimate principle. You see yoga becoming more and more central as a distinct path.
Okay, then the video brings in Buddhism and Jainism, the shamanic traditions. How do they interact with this developing yoga, Buddha, for instance?
Well, Buddha's own enlightenment story is steeped in yogic practice. Sitting in Padmasana, the lotus pose, under the Bodhi tree. That's a direct application of asana for deep realization.
Right. And there was mention of Kachari Mudra, too.
Potentially, yeah. Subtle yogic techniques. But Buddha's core message was ihipasiko, come and see for yourself. Direct experience over blind faith.
He wasn't just accepting the existing philosophies.
No, he questioned the Upanishadic idea of an eternal soul, Atman, and Sankhya's Purusha. He felt they didn't fully solve the problem of suffering. His focus was very pragmatic.
And his meditation methods, like vipassana.
They added new dimensions, especially to mindfulness and insight, building on or refining existing practices like pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana. Then you have Emperor Ashoka later on.
Spreading Buddhism.
Yes, and his edicts emphasizing compassion, nonviolence, very much aligned with yogic ethics, the yamas.
And those caves he had carved, the Barabar caves.
Incredible places, carved for ajivikas and other ascetic groups, shows a kind of early secular support for spiritual practice. And these were likely places for intense, hidden yoga and meditation, polished granite interiors. Amazing.
So Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, written later, probably drew from these traditions too.
Seems very likely. The video suggests the yama and niyama, the ethical core, show strong parallels with Jain principles, especially ahimsa, and the emphasis on meditation and samadhi definitely echoes Buddhist practices.
What about Jainism itself? It predates Buddhism, right?
Yes. Its first Tirthankar, Rishabhdev, is even mentioned in the Vedas. He's also called Adinath, revered as the first yogi, and sometimes linked symbolically to Pashupati or Shiva.
And there are shared words like Nath and Swami.
Exactly. Swami meaning master of the senses or conqueror of the self, used for Jain figures and later Natha yogis. Jainism is all about self-mastery. Mahavir, the last Tirthankar, is the great hero because he conquered himself. Nonviolence is their supreme law.
Do they have physical practices that relate?
Oh, yes. Things like Kayotsarga, standing meditation, sometimes for incredibly long periods, like Bahubali. It stresses endurance, self-discipline. This emphasis on vrat, strict vows, probably fed into Patanjali's yamas, which can become Mahavrat, the great vows.
Okay, shifting to the epics. The Mahabharata. Yoga's in there too.
Deeply woven in. The Mahabharata is this vast story about duty, conflict, life. And it contains that famous line, there is no knowledge like Sankhya and no power like yoga. Shows how highly they were regarded.
But the Bhagavad Gita is where yoga really gets applied differently.
Absolutely. The Gita takes yoga out of the forest hermitages and puts it right onto the battlefield, into the middle of life's dilemmas. It's not just philosophy. It's this powerful, inspiring poem. Every chapter ends with the word yoga.
It brings Sankhya and yoga together.
Beautifully. It integrates Sankhya's ideas about reality, the elements, and yoga's 8 limbs, all within its narrative, describing different paths and techniques, makes yoga practical, accessible.
Then we move into the classical age, first few centuries AD. Hatha Yoga and Tantra start coming more into focus.
Right. This period sees Vyasa's commentary on the Yoga Sutras, the Vyasa-bhasha, which is crucial for understanding Patanjali. Buddhism is also expanding, especially Mahayana Buddhism, which readily incorporated yoga and meditation.
And Tantra starts influencing Buddhist thought.
Yes, through figures like Asanga and Nagarjuna. Nagarjuna was also into alchemy, exploring longevity, this idea of making the body incorruptible, like diamond vajra.
Ah, so the goal of yoga aligns with creating this strong, resilient diamond body.
Exactly. This feeds into Vajrayana Buddhism and texts like the Guhya Samaja Tantra. Then you have Acharya Buddhaghosa detailing Mahayana meditation methods.
Focusing on breath, happiness, body parts.
Higher consciousness, different kinds of knowledge, very systematic. And caves remain important.
Places for monks to really go deep, conquer instincts, reach higher states. Lighthouses, the video called them.
Great image. Then there's the Vijayana Bhairava from Kashmir Shaivism, 8th century maybe.
112 meditation techniques.
Yeah, amazing diversity. And notably free from dogma, focusing on nothingness, senses, sound, love, bliss. Very experiential.
And Tantra itself, the video tries to clarify its meaning, right?
Yeah.
Beyond the common misconceptions.
Yes. Expanse, or to weave. It draws inspiration from the power of female creation, the miracle of birth. It's not just about sex, it's about recognizing the profound power originating in the female body. Yoga bowing before the procreator is how the video puts it.
Sculpture also becomes a medium for this.
Definitely. A means and a goal for meditation. The artist meditates on the divine, experiences it, then manifests it in stone or metal. The process of nyas. It elevates the human form spiritually. Indian humanism plus yoga.
Like the Elephanta cave sculpture.
A prime example. That massive Shiva sculpture embodies spiritual peace, the ultimate yogic state. Shows its different aspects, even the hidden fifth face, Ishana, only seen by the realized, reflect Shaiva Agama teachings.
And after the 10th century, the Upanishads start focusing more directly on yoga.
Many later ones do, yeah. Like the Yoga Tattva Upanishad, outlining 4 types of yoga. And understanding these requires understanding kundalini.
Kundalini, the dormant energy at the base of the spine.
That primordial power. Linked to Sankhya's gunas, pranic in nature, flowing through nadis, those subtle energy channels. Ira, Pingala, Sushumna being the main ones. This concept was developed significantly in the Tamil Siddha tradition.
And the 5 pranas.
Prana, Apana, Saman, Vyan, Udan, the vital airs or energies governing different functions. Hatha Yoga techniques, asana, pranayama, mudra, bandha, aim to unite prana and apana in the central channel, Sushumna.
To awaken kundalini.
And activate the chakras, the energy centers along the spine. The chakra system itself might have roots in Ayurveda and was refined by Hatha yogis, possibly influenced by those Tamil Siddhas.
The lotus is a key symbol here, too.
Hugely important, symbolizing the universe, detachment, the chakras themselves, even yogic postures, and Om, the primordial sound of creation.
The video mentioned yogini temples, too, built like chakras.
Around 1000 AD, yeah. Circular temples dedicated to yoginis, female deities often with animal aspects. Sadly, many seem damaged. These might point to female-led yoga cults, maybe echoes of that earlier potential Harappan emphasis on women in spiritual life.
And Sankhya's idea of divinity within everyone.
That contributed to India's spiritual democracy, you could say. Many gods, many paths, because consciousness itself is divine. But Shiva remains central, consistently linked with yoga for millennia. Khajuraho's temples are brought up again, Kandarya Mahadev.
As embodying Sankhya. Prakriti's gunas tamas, rajas, sattva in the vibrant sculptures, with Purusha, consciousness, seemingly detached. Bankim Chandra Chatterjee saw Sankhya as key there.
And the erotic sculptures have hidden Hatha Yoga and Tantra meanings.
Using Sandhya Bhasha, twilight language or code. So a yogi embraced by a washerwoman isn't literal. It symbolizes Kundalini rising to unite with Shiva, a hidden layer of meaning.
Fascinating. Then the Kanfada yogis, the pierced ear yogis.
Disciples of Gorakhnath, a major Hatha yogi, 8th to 12th century, maybe from Bengal. Associated with longevity through yoga and alchemy, a disciple of Adena Shiva, also linked to Matsyendranath.
Considered the founder of Hatha Yoga. Yes, and connected to the Yogini Kal sect. The Kamakhya temple was originally Yogihati, a yoga center. There's the legend of Matsyendranath going to Nepal and Gorakhnath being worshipped there.
Gorakhnath seems important for making yoga more accessible.
Hugely. Challenged the caste system, criticized empty rituals, influenced the Bhakti movement. Then comes Swapmarama's Hatha Yoga Pradipika in the 14th century.
The basis for a lot of modern yoga.
Absolutely. It details 84 main asanas, including Padrasana, maybe seen way back in Harappa. It stresses Shatkarma, the purification practices. Hatha Yoga really elevates the body as the vehicle for liberation in this life. Yoga becomes synonymous with health.
Patanjali saw obstacles. Hatha Yoga developed ways to fix them, sometimes with alchemy.
Yeah, process mercury, cannabis, practices aimed at rejuvenation, led to the term Gorak Danda, sometimes used critically for complex or dubious practices.
The 4 pillars of Hatha Yoga again: asana, pranayama, mudra, bandha.
The core tools. And that idea of the yogi's unstruck sound or sleeping with open eyes.
Symbolizing constant awareness.
Purusha witnessing Prakriti, even in sleep. Like Vishnu reclining on the cosmic serpent, aware but resting.
Then the Bhakti movement takes hold, starting in the south.
With the Alvars and Nainors, poets, saints, Ramananda brings it north in the 13th century. Big emphasis on personal devotion, love for God. Sometimes the devotee's love is seen as even more important than rituals. Led to social reforms, too.
You see it in Kabir's poetry, Mirabai's intense devotion.
Yes, Kabir is full of yogic metaphors. Mirabai's focus is compared to Sampragyat Samadhi. Even Sufism, the mystical Islamic tradition.
They were open to yoga.
Yes, seeking divine love, critical of caste. They found resonance with yogic ideas and practices, and traditions like the Lingayats connect back to ancient Shaiva and Natha lineages.
But the video also mentions the destruction caused by invasions.
A tragic part of the story. Nalanda, Vallabhi. Huge libraries burned. Many Buddhist monks and nuns fled to the Himalayas. Yoga survived and flourished there, often within tantric frameworks.
So the Himalayas became a refuge, preserving traditions.
Exactly. High monasteries holding ancient knowledge. Think of Guru Naropa's intense Vajrayana practices. Lamas developing incredible control over their bodies and extreme cold through meditation.
Drying wet sheets with body heat. Meditating for days.
Incredible feats of yogic discipline. Meanwhile, Shiva yogis spread the Hatha Yoga Pradipika in the plains. Then sage Garan writes the Garan Samhita in the 17th century.
Documenting more asanas.
Right, 84 listed, 32 illustrated. Later texts like Yogasan Mala add even more.
And even royalty practiced attachment. Maharaja Man Singh.
A poet of yoga and renunciation, even while living in luxury. He built temples for Nath yogis. Sadly, the paintings inside are fading now.
Fast forward to the 18th and 19th centuries, social changes, British influence.
And figures like Ramakrishna Paramahansa emerge. A great yogi, devotee of the mother goddess Prakriti. He attained asampragyat samadhi.
The state beyond all support.
Yeah, where the knower, knowing, and known dissolved into one. Like Vedanta's unified consciousness made manifest. The video calls it the summit of this 6,000-year journey.
The ultimate goal.
Yoga as the surest path there. Beyond philosophy, beyond science. Though science is now starting to study and quantify these states. And of course, Vivekananda bringing Raja Yoga to the West in 1893, influencing India's independence movement.
And the final part of the challenge for us now, controlling the mind in this crazy tech age.
Exactly. Yoga's timeless power to manage the intellect, elevate consciousness, maybe more relevant than ever, remembering our ancestors walked this path, and the younger generation aspiring to do the same. That Hatha Yogi desire for a healthy, lasting body as a foundation.
Wow. Okay, so wrapping up this huge deep dive, we've gone from potential roots in the Indus Valley through Patanjali, the Upanishads, Buddha, Jainism, the Gita, Tantra, Hatha Yoga, Bhakti, right up to the modern day.
It's an immense journey. I think the key takeaway is just how much more yoga is than just exercise. It's this incredibly deep, long-running exploration of what it means to be conscious, how to find inner peace, the connection between mind, body, spirit, all woven into India's history and thought.
That enduring quest for self-understanding across thousands of years, that's kind of the aha moment, isn't it?
Definitely. It's been the driving force.
So a final thought for you listening. With all this history in mind, thousands of years, so many layers now, how does your own idea or practice of yoga connect with these roots? Does learning about this vast history open up any new ways you might want to explore yoga? Something to think about.